Hi my friends, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a card, doing a little bit of rainbow inking and stenciling and Copic coloring. So first off, I'm going to start with just taking out my craft mat here. This is the Tonic craft mat. I believe it's called the Easy Clean mat. And I like this one because it is white and you can see any type of color that you place on it, but we're not going to be smushing ink onto it. We're just going to use it to protect our work surface for today. And so I've just got several different colors of Distress Oxide inks that I'm going to be using as my rainbow. Got a piece of Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock here, and this stencil that's very old. I don't even know if it's still available, but if it is, I will try to find it for you guys if you like this one. This is from Studio Calico, and it's they're from their Mr. Huey's line. I don't think that line is available anymore, but again, I will try to link to it if I possibly can. I'm just taking some micropore tape here and taping down this piece of watercolor cardstock as well as my stencil. This stencil is kind of it's almost covering a card front, not quite, but that's okay. Once we get to inking here, sometimes you will have the opportunity to get out of the lines just a little bit of this stencil, but that's quite alright because we're going to be cutting this piece down anyway. So my idea for this card was to kind of make a rainbow effect going from the bottom right corner up to the top left corner with these colors, making my rainbow. And then later on you will see that I'm going to be using one of the newest sets from Pretty Pink Posh. It's called Hummingbird Thanks. And my idea was to have that hummingbird in that right corner kind of touch its beak to these stars, and it's going to create this rainbow. That was my idea. So that's what I did today for today's card. So for the inking though, I'm going to start off with my red color, and I got to pounce my color with this. I've got a finger dauber here instead of my normal ink blending tool. I've got a finger dauber because this particular stencil is not as thin as most stencils are. It's a little bit thicker, so I really got to press harder to get my ink through those open areas to make sure that I get ink through them. So that's why you kind of see me kind of press just a little bit harder than I would maybe with an ink blending tool. So, and some of the stars, came out obviously looking like stars, and then some of them didn't. But this stencil has little bitty, just like little circles within it too, not just stars. So, like I said, I'm just going from one corner to another, going with the rainbow effect and just pressing this ink in. You could do obviously many different ways with this stencil. You could use paints. You could obviously use, if you still have like ink sprays, you could use the ink sprays with this too. Obviously, they even could use some markers too, kind of if you wanted to take the time to take the marker and go with each little area, you could use the marker too. So there's obviously many different ways that you could use stencils. I particularly wanted to use this one because of this idea that I had in my head, and so wasn't going to be satisfied until I actually tried it out. So, and I feel like my mojo as far as making anything has been lost lately. So usually how I fix that is do anything rainbow. So that usually gets me going again for some reason because it's all colorful and, vibrant and happy. So that's why I chose also doing the rainbow effect here. So you can see how that's turned out, and it's really pretty, and it's, some of the stars are kind of spacing out just a little bit as we go toward the top of the card there. So I'm going to try out my newest ink here. This is the Extreme Black ink from My Favorite Things. I am planning on doing a black ink comparison for you guys. A lot of you, in my last haul video, I asked if you wanted me to do another updated black ink comparison, and a lot of you have asked me to do that, so I will have that video for you guys sooner rather than later, I promise. But for today, I'm just going to stamp down and use these this ink just to stamp down one of my hummingbirds. If I had to do this card again, I would probably do multiple birds, probably at least two. But I just did the one, and I think it still turned out really good because he's rainbow. So I've got all the markers that I use for my Copics listed on the side there. So in case you wanted to reference them, they're listed below, or they're listed to the side. And I had no rhyme or reason for this. I literally was just playing and getting color down into seeing what I was going to end up creating. And, you know, for these colors not to be obviously the same colors and color families, they blended fairly well for it being, you know, Copics. And obviously with blending, you want the same color for it to blend, but obviously doing the rainbow today. So, but they did really well, and I was really surprised, and actually pleasantly surprised. So, like I said, no rhyme or reason as far as the colors, the particular colors that I chose. I just went and looked at my markers and saw how I wanted to use certain reds, certain oranges, that kind of thing. So I wanted to get, obviously, as close to variation to colors as I could. But there again, I was just picking colors from my stash. So you can, as you can see, I'm kind of going back with some of the lighter colors to kind of blend them a little bit better. And like I said, it didn't turn out too bad. So I wanted to keep the head and the wings more of the rainbow, and then the rest of the body more neutral. And that's because, like I said, I wanted the idea of this little hummingbird to, once he touched the stars, he was changing everything rainbow. So that, like I said, that was my idea. I hope you guys, you know, like the idea. But that's what I had in my head. So I just used all of C2 grays here. And I also wanted to, I kind of put some orange to connect the little bit of the orange to his wings, the beginning of his wings to his body. And I knew obviously that this was way, way off in two different colors, but I wanted to kind of blend them and just as much as I could. So I'm taking my one of my gray markers and kind of blending that in and kind of seamlessly blending that as much as I can, as long, you know, to make a little bit of seamless transition there. So I've taken the coordinating die to cut this out, and I've got just a little bit of the marker that kind of bled through. So I just took a white gel pen, and I didn't show that on camera, but I just took a white gel pen and covered that up, and you'll never know. So I'm going to work on my sentiment now, and this is from obviously that same stamp set. I'm going to use my Misty for this because I want to make sure that since I did all of this inking, I'm not going to mess this sentiment up. So I am going to use that same black ink as I used before. I'm going to stamp this down twice because this image is normally it's a really kind of thin line sentiment, and I wanted to make it as bold as possible. So I'm stamping it down twice, and I'm happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and assemble our card. For the black piece of cardstock, I used obviously my favorite die set, which is the MFT Blueprints 27. And I'm just adding some foam adhesive both to the bird and to the back of this black piece here. I want to make sure that this is really good and sturdy. If I put this through the mail, it won't collapse. So I'm being really liberal with that foam adhesive. And I've got a new roll that I want to start too. So that's another reason why I'm trying to be as liberal as I can, because my roll that I'm currently using is almost up. So I am adding this to a white A2 size card base, and then adding my bird onto the bottom right corner like I mentioned. And like I said, it's kind of touching the edge there, and it's just kind of, he's just radiating that rainbow and those stars. So for final embellishment, I'm not going to add any gems or anything. I just want to add a little bit of sparkle to my bird. So I'm taking my Tonic Nuvo shimmer pen here and just adding a lot of this because I really want him to shimmer a lot. And then I'm going to take a glaze black gel pen and add a little bit of darkness to his eye and make it pop just a little bit more from the card, because obviously whenever I colored over it, it kind of got lost there. So that completes my card for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, all the supplies are listed and linked below the video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you to subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will catch you on my next video.